We're standing all over the room out of respect for God's word. And the word of the Lord reads this way. A large crowd, I'm reading on the New Living Translation, so it may sound a little bit different than yours. And there was a large crowd following Jesus. And he turned around and said to them, if you want to be my disciple, you must, by comparison, hate everyone else, your father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, even your own life. Otherwise, you cannot be my disciple. And if you do not carry your own cross and follow me, you cannot be my disciple. But don't begin. Don't follow me. Don't come chasing after me until you first count the cost. Somebody shout cost. Yeah. For who would begin construction of a building without first calculating, the cost to see if there is enough money to finish it? Otherwise, you might complete only the foundation before running out of money, and then everybody will laugh at you. And this is what they'll say, there's the person who started that building and couldn't even afford to finish it. Yeah. I want to use for a simple subject this morning, the cost of discipleship. Yeah, the cost of discipleship. Lord, bless your word today in Jesus' name. Amen. The Lord spoke to me to speak to you about the cost of discipleship. When Jesus declared to his eager listeners that in order for you to be a true follower of his, you must take up your cross and follow me, his hearers had immediately, they understood the imagery. He could have used any other illustration, any other metaphor, any other thing to explain what he wanted, but he purposely chose the imagery of a cross because they were familiar with that sort of crucifixion, execution by crucifixion. They had witnessed hundreds of people executed by crucifixion, and death by crucifixion was the cruelest, most horrible, disgraceful method of capital punishment. The Romans used this. They did not invent crucifixion, but they certainly did modify it and perfect it, and they reserved it for the most vilest criminals, the worst persons in society. This was the worst form of punishment, and it was normally reserved for the worst, most vilest, most wicked individuals of society. And yet, Jesus says we are called to it. There ain't nothing sexy about a cross. Ain't nothing fun about a cross. When we speak about Christianity nowadays, you don't hear many people speaking about a cross. We talk about cars, but we don't talk about crosses. We talk about houses, blessing plans, miracles, but we don't talk about crosses. We talk about what can you get from being a Christian. And consequently, we make people believe that coming to Jesus or coming to church means that you're going to get Kool-Aid out your water fountain. We make people believe that Christianity is all about jet planes, big houses, fancy clothes. We make them think that Christianity is simply about being able to boast about the price of the vehicle that I drive. But I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that you and I have been called to a cross. When Jesus said to take up your cross, he made it personal. Yeah, don't worry about my cross. He said this is going to be your cross. It's going to be tailor-made just for you. And everybody in here has a cross to bear. We have to be people who stop comparing ourselves to other people. You know how those commercials are when they come across the screen and they say, take this vitamin or take these drugs or use this exercise and you'll lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. And they'll put a disclaimer on there saying results may vary. Because they understand that even though you could follow the same plan, you may not have the same results. You may not have it in the same amount of time. So our goal is not to compare ourselves with one another. My goal is to be so distracted with my own cross that I bear it under his hand. Sometimes, listen to this, sometimes we're envious of people because we assume that their lives are so much better than ours. We assume that we carry a burden that's so much bigger than everybody else's. And everybody is always looking at somebody saying, I wish I had your life. Yeah, if I had, compared to the crosses that I bear, that I carry, I look at yours and I assume that you don't have the burdens that I carry. And so I wish I had so-and-so's life. I wish I had so-and-so's spouse. I wish I had so-and-so's car. I wish I had so-and-so's background, because to you, their life looks so glamorous. They look like they have nothing to deal with. And I'm saying if I had their hand, I would win. But that's because I misunderstood that everybody in this room has a cross somewhere in your life. We may not see it immediately. We may not understand it. We may not know where it is, but everybody in here has a cross somewhere. The rich folks have it. Poor folks have it. The men have a cross. The women have a cross. The black folks have a cross. The white folks have a cross. The single people have a cross. The married people have a cross. It is inescapable. Nobody gets away with it. Everybody in here has got a cross. If you understand what I'm saying, shout amen. And your cross may be something that you've been called by God to go through that I may not quite see or understand, but to you, it is just as excruciating as the bodies that the Romans hung on the cross. See, hanging on the cross wasn't pretty. It wasn't cute. It was excruciating. It was agonizing. It was designed to kill the flesh, and it was designed not to make it quick, but to make it last a long time. And to think that my body has a cross that I carry, and my body and my flesh and my desires are being hung up on something is something I want to do, but I can't do it because I've been called to a cross. Maybe your cross has been to endure a season of singleness. Yeah. I'm sick of this cross. I want to get out of it quick. I'm trying to get to the next status of my life. But for this season, underscore the word season in my life, God has called me to carry myself respectfully in a season of singleness. See, some of y'all make singleness seem like a life sentence, but it's not a life sentence. It's just a season. Yeah, and you're looking at everybody else because you said, look, I got myself together. My God, I'm snatched. My God, I'm put together. In fact, I got more than most, and they get married and I don't, but that's because God has called you to a season. Yeah, you so busy trying to get out of that season that you're like Abraham trying to make the promise come to pass, and you keep having these Ishmaels everywhere because you can't endure this season. It's not a life sentence, baby. It's just a season. Somebody in here, you've been called to the cross. Your marriage is your cross. Oh, y'all gonna get tight on me now. Your marriage is your cross, and you've been called to stick beside somebody who doesn't love you like you think they should, and you want to get out of it, but God has called you. This person is your cross that you must bear. Oh, see, y'all done got tight on me. Y'all done got tight on me. For somebody, it is your cross to bear. It is your cross to endure. It is your cross to stand by that person while they go through sickness. It is your cross to bear that person's insecurities. It is your cross to work with that person and live with that person while God develops them. And I wish I was off this cross, and I wish God would change this season, but I'm called to it. Somebody, your job is your cross. I want to cuss somebody out and walk off the job and give them my middle finger and say, I don't need this job. But God, yeah, I know exactly how you feel. Somebody right now is just thinking about their exit papers right now, but you sense in your spirit that God has called you, at least for this season, to endure this cross. Oh my God. For somebody, it's your church. For somebody, it's an illness that you have been called to go through for a season. And I can go on and on down the list. But all I'm trying to tell you is that that everybody is bearing a cross. The thing about a cross, when you get really serious, see, most Christians don't really want to talk about a cross. But in reality, if you really carry your cross for Jesus, you won't get invited to everything. Yeah, I don't get invited to everything. They have the party, they didn't invite me because I'm living on a cross. Certain things I won't do, certain things I won't be involved in, certain people I won't be around, certain things I can't lower my standard, not because I'm better than you and not because I'm more spiritual than you, but I've got a cross. And when you see me coming in the door with my cross on my back. And you say I'm deep. You say I'm too religious. And I get tired of Christians telling other Christians you're too religious just because I'm bearing a cross. Just because I'm carrying something in my life that prevents me from doing the things that you can get away with. I have a cross to bear. I have something that God has put in my life and told me to endure this cross. What kind of discipline, which is the root word of disciple, what kind of disciple has no discipline? You ain't called to no party, baby. You called to a cross. Get out of here thinking that you're supposed to have a good time all the time. You're supposed to be a party hardy. You have been called to a cross, and everybody has to bear their cross. Nobody gets away. And my cross makes other people uncomfortable sometimes, deacon. Just walking in the room, the cross that I carry. You know, if you watch the crucifixion, there was something about watching a crucifixion that did something to you psychologically. To watch that person be laid on those wooden beams and beaten beyond recognition and thrown up on the cross like a dog. And the Romans used to have them hanging all the way down the road where people could look at them and see them agonizing and writhing in pain. And it was supposed to send a message. Sometimes my cross makes people uncomfortable. Have you ever had it happen to you on your job? Your cross, your consecration, just the way you carry yourself, make people start putting stuff away. Yeah, your cross will make your family members start putting bottles away. Let me put this reefer away, because here she come. And she ain't got to preach, you ain't got to lay hands, you ain't got to speak in tongues, but there's something about a consecrated life. I want to talk to somebody about the power of a consecrated life. That when you're really walking with the cross on you, you ain't got to tell nobody you're a Christian. You ain't got to come in the door preaching to nobody. You ain't got to come in speaking in tongues and thumping no Bible. But there's something about the way you carry yourself, the grace, the dignity, the class, my God, that you walk into a situation with that makes people understand she's got something on her. She's got something on him that I can't quite explain, but it makes me uncomfortable just watching you die. Quit trying to find a place where you have no cross. Because where there's no cross, there is no crown. And everybody wants a crown, but nobody wants a cross. Everybody want to go to heaven, Catherine, but nobody wants to die. Everybody wants an anointing, but nobody wants to suffer. Everybody wants to be elevated, but nobody wants to be humbled. Stop crying about your cross. Endure your single season. Endure your marital situation. Endure the job you're going through. Endure people talking about you and putting you down. Because where there is no cross, you will have no crown. All my folks that know God is crowning you with glory right now, give God a shout right here. In our text, Jesus appealed to his listeners' common sense by telling them this: nobody builds a tower without first counting up the cost. Jesus was telling them about the true cost of discipleship. He didn't try to hide the fact that there would be a cost involved. He didn't cheapen it. He didn't put it on sale. It is what it is. It costs what it costs. Building a life that pleases God, beloved, will cost you something. And I don't know where we've gotten this Christianity that thinks that you could serve God like he wants you to and it not cost you something somewhere. It bothered me when I was studying for this because I was trying to search through several commentaries, several speakers, several books, because I wanted to find out exactly what it cost, right? I want to know what the bottom line number is. Okay, Jesus, if I'm going to become a disciple, how much does it cost? And the interesting thing is that Jesus never gave them a number. He didn't tell them how much it would cost. Because the truth be told, you're going to be paying for this the rest of your life. That your whole life you're going to be paying for it somewhere. And the reason why you're trying to change your status or your situation quickly is because you keep thinking you're going to come to a place where you don't pay no costs. You keep thinking that you're going to finally get to a place where you say, I'm done. I'm done suffering. I'm done. I've reached a plateau and a place in my life where I'm done paying. I paid it. I paid enough and I'm done paying. But I come to tell somebody at every level of your life, there's going to be a cost. I thought I was done, sis, when I got my ministry license. I studied for months and months and years to get my ministry license, and I got it. I thought, I'm done. Then I thought, I'm done once I become an ordained elder. I thought, I'm done. Then I thought, well, when I become ordained a pastor, I'll be done with those kind of sufferings. And I found out I'm still paying the costs. Somebody in here says, if I change my status from single to married, that I'll be done carrying my cross. So you went down the aisle waving to your girlfriends as your beau carried you out the door, throwing your bouquet out to somebody else, claiming I'm done, but you didn't realize I'm just getting started. I thought I was done, Sharita, when my kids made 18. I thought I was done when I became an empty nester. Then I started counting, brother. I said, well, maybe I'm done when I'm 20. Maybe I'll be done when I'm 30. Maybe I'll be done when I'm 40. Maybe I'll be done when I'm 50, but I'm still paying a cost. I thought I was done. I hear some kids in here right now saying, I can't wait till I turn 18, because when I turn 18, I'll be done. I'll get out from under my parents' rules, and I'll be a grown woman and a grown man, and I'm done. Only to find out you get out there in the real world and you're still paying the costs. All you did was trade one cross for another, but you're still going to pay a price. So I hurried up and I jumped out of my single status and I grabbed somebody because I thought I could get away from the cross of loneliness, only to jump into a marriage and realize it's a cross over here too. I thought I was done when I dropped that dead weight and I divorced them, and then found out it was a cross over there too. Everybody is going to be paying a cross, and there is no end. You're going to be paying this cross for the rest of your life. You never get to a certain status in life where you don't have a cross. We all talk about having opportunity, but I want to say to somebody today that opportunity cost. Every opportunity that you get, it costs. You got a new job, it costs. You start a business, it costs. Everything new you add into your life, it costs. It costs. And I'm trying to put that in your head so that you will stop being disappointed and stop living off of the milk of the idea that everything is supposed to go exactly where you want. And if you don't like it, then you'll leave. There is a cost. Let me explain like this. There's a difference. There's a difference between the price of something versus the cost of something. Yeah, I was having this conversation with one of my very dear friends. We were discussing the price of something versus the cost of something. We always use those two words interchangeably as if they mean the same thing, but really there is a difference. When you talk about the price of something, you're talking about what you paid for at the time of the purchase. This is how much this car cost. All right? This is how much this house costs. You see the sticker on it. You see the bottom line say, it cost me X amount of money. That's the price. The cost, on the other hand, are the lifetime expenses of keeping a thing. Let me explain what I mean. You might buy a car and you bought it for XYZ price. That's the price. It cost me $30,000. That's the price. But the cost is the ongoing expenses. The gas, the oil, the tire changes, the maintenance. You buy a house. You say, this is the price of the house. That's the price of the house. But what you have to factor into it is the cost of upkeep in the house, of making sure the house is kept up. It's the insurances. It's, when you get in the house, it's the closing costs. It's the insurances. It's taking care of the roof. It's fixing the fence. It's keeping the grass cut. It's the plumbing. It's the appliances. It's the carpet. It's all those things that are required to keep a thing over a lifetime. And many people are disappointed because they buy into something, think you're done paying, but you just paid the price. You ain't even got down to the cost. Even when Jesus went to the cross for our salvation, Jesus paid the price for our sins. He paid the price. He paid it with his blood, with his life. But he also looked at the view of the cost of ownership. That's the word right there. There is a cost of ownership, and Jesus paid it all. What did Jesus do? When he went to the cross, he didn't just pay for the sins past. He looked at your future, and he paid for the sins past, present, and future. He paid for the stuff I was going to do. You ought to be happy about that. When he went to the cross, he paid for the mistakes he knew I was going to make. He paid for the wrong turns he knew I was going to take, the mess ups, the screw ups, the mistakes, the bad judgment, all the dumb stuff we do as human beings. He looked at the view of ownership and said, I will pay the cost. I will pay whatever it is. I'll not just pay for the sins that they have committed. I'll pay for the sins that they're going to commit. My blood, yeah. We used to sing in the old church, the blood that Jesus shed for me way back on Calvary, it flows to the highest mountain and it goes down to the lowest valley. Wherever God has to find you, he said, I got enough blood to cover you. Somebody will be happy about that. We ought to go home shouting on that one right there. Yeah, because Jesus already calculated. He sat down and did the cost. He did the calculations, pulled out his calculator and started adding up. What's it going to take to have Faison? Okay, he's going to go through this, and he's going to go through that, and he's going to trip out over here, and he's going to make a bad mistake right there, and he's going to get up, and he's going to backslide, and he's going to go forward, and he's going to get up again. And I'm going to calculate all that into it before I even call him. And God said, before I even called you, before I cleared my throat and opened my mouth to even call you, I already calculated what the cost of owning you would be. I'm not surprised by what you're going through. I've already calculated everything that it would cost to have you, and I still paid the price. Somebody give God praise for praying, for God paying the... We're so focused sometimes on what we want that we don't count the cost. Yeah, we don't count the cost of maintaining a relationship. You just focused on the wedding day. That's all you focus on. I'm focused on the day. But in reality, you got to be thinking about what it's going to take to maintain. Anybody can get somebody. That's easy. It's maintaining a relationship. It's maintaining a friendship. That's where we need the grace of God. I can get you. But the question is, can I keep you? Oh, my Lord. And a lot of people get into something and they're shocked at how much it costs. They're shocked. I thought marriage was going to be fun. You're shocked. You was watching Sex in the City. You was watching TV. You was watching people resolve their issues in 45 minutes. And you thought, I want that. And then you realize that 45 minutes on TV may be 15 years for you. And when you saw how much it really cost to maintain a relationship, somebody said the price is too high. I'm out. Relationships ebb and flow. Life ebbs and flows. Businesses ebb and flow. I'm making money. I'm losing money. Situations come and go. Things are good sometimes and things are bad sometimes. There are seasons. But what you have to understand is that even though these are seasons, they're just that. They're seasons. And some people, when they see the price tag of something going up, somebody right now would get saved. But the problem is they keep thinking about how much it costs. They're not thinking about what they're going to gain. They're only focused on what they're going to lose. That's why you're not answering your call to ministry. It's not that you don't love the Lord. It's just that you're thinking about, who am I going to have to give up? What am I going to have to give up? What am I going to have to endure? Who am I going to have to lose? Who am I going to have to let slip through my fingers simply because I have a cross in my life? People want to go into ministry because if we make it look glamorous, Catherine. Yeah, you get to come in a fancy door, you drive a fancy car, you get on a fancy jet, and people give you VIP treatment, and all we're focused on is the good stuff. But what you don't focus on is the cross, the sacrifice. And I've said this a million times in here, that ministry is not convenient. And somebody has sold the church on the idea that serving God is always going to work into your schedule. And it doesn't. That you may have long nights, you may have long days, you may go without, you may walk through periods of loneliness, you may walk through periods of being misunderstood, you may walk through periods of being ostracized, you may walk through periods of being talked about just because you name the name of the Lord, that you may have to give up something you wanted to do, you may have to give up somebody you wanted to have, you may have to turn your TV off and say, I can't watch that show right now because they need me at church. I may not be able to go to the trip that I wanted to go on right now because they need my service. And isn't it weird that sometimes God calls you at the oddest times in your life? You get ready to have a hot girl summer and God said, I want to use you in ministry. God, you messing up my plans. What you talking about? Hold on here. This is not convenient. God, call me in the springtime. Call me in the wintertime. Call me when it get cold. Don't call me right now. I'm getting ready to show up this beach body and you trying to call me to a revival. Wait a minute. This is not convenient. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that there are people who are successful because they understand that when it's good, I'm going to stay, but when it's bad, I'm going to stay too. It's not that I like it. I'm not volunteering for it. It's just that he has called me to a cross. Michael, I wish I could promise you it's going to be fun. Man, we're going to have a party, dog. We're going to have a good time. I like to tell you that. I like to tell you that. But Jesus had an amazing habit of being a truth teller. He didn't play to the crowd. He didn't change his position because he wanted followers. He didn't try to be a chameleon. He didn't try to fit in with different types of people. He didn't change his message to broaden his audience. He just said, this is what it is. I like Jesus. Because Jesus was always genuinely himself. He didn't do like some of us. I'm going to be this person over here. I'm going to be that person over there. I'm going to be this person at work. I'm going to be this person in the street. I'm going to be this person at home. And you have different groups of people and different sets of friends who know you in a different way because God help you if you get all of them together at the same time, then you're all messed up. Because I don't know who I'm supposed to be. But when you're genuinely yourself, you don't have to worry about that. See, Jesus understood that everybody's not going to receive you. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You're not going to be everybody's flavor. We're not going to be everybody's taste in worship. Everybody's not going to like your preaching style. Everybody's not going to like your philosophy. But for God's sake, be yourself. For somebody, your cross is just being yourself. You'll be happier if you just be yourself. You keep switching, you keep changing, you keep altering yourself because you're trying to fit in and you try. See, we got people who are distracted with being people pleasers instead of God pleasers. And what happens is you end up pleasing nobody. That's what happens. When you try to be a people pleaser instead of being a God pleaser, you end up pleasing nobody because you can't please everybody. So your focus as a Christian is to please God. Look at somebody and say, I'm a God pleaser. So let me help you. I got 4 things I want to share with you. That was just my introduction. That was just the appetizer. Pull out your pads. Pull out your pencil. I got some things I want to say. You need to write this down. In fact, share it with somebody right now. I'm going to help you with some tips to help you endure your cross successfully. Number one, I want to talk to you about the cost of engagement. You got to stay engaged. One Greek philosopher said this. He said, no man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the river, because the river's not the same, and I'm not the same man. In other words, life is always changing. God is always moving. God is like a river that continues to flow. It's always fresh. And if you're a kind of person who tends to engage when it's good and disconnect when it's not, you come in when it's convenient, you step out when it's not, and you're a person that's in and out of commitments like that, what you don't realize is that every time you step back in, it's not going to be the same situation. No relationship can handle that kind of stress. If you're in or you're out, I'm with it or I'm not. Because you will leave me for 3 months and come back and my river has flowed. Don't think that you're going to be able to leave and come back and it still be the same thing. Because if you put your foot in a river and take it out, it's not going to be the same river anymore because I'm not the same man. Life is changing. God is moving. We're moving from faith to faith and from glory to glory. And it tickled me to people who disengage and disconnect from life and disconnect from church and think they're going to step right back into where they were. It doesn't happen like that. You got to learn how to stay engaged. For somebody, the price you pay is just be able to stand there. Haven't done all to stand. Stand there for. Being able to stand, to withstand some stuff. We're out of place. And when you're always moving in and out of place, you lose opportunities. And you pay the price because you weren't in place. God is dropping blessings on you. And you got to be somebody to say, I'm going to stand right here. I'm going to be right here. When God decides to turn this season and turn this thing around, he ain't got to find my address. I live right here. I'm in this church. I'm in this city. I'm on this job. I'm in this situation. And I'm going to be right here when the blessing comes because the stage is always changing. But when God decides to release it, I'm going to be right here. Somebody shout, I'm right here. Yeah, when you look for me, God, I'm not going to be at the bar. I'm not going to be running the street. I'm going to be right here giving God praise. I'm not going to leave because life is hard. I'm not going to backslide because nobody don't like me. I'm going to be right here. I'm not going to let no devil, no demon chase me out of my spot. I'm going to be right here giving God praise. Anybody in here that got that kind of dog determination, give God a praise right here, devil. Number two, let me talk to you about the cost of abandonment. Quite honestly, beloved, some things you just have to let go of. Can you handle that? Some things you just have to let go of. Because in order for you to grab some things, you got to let something else go. I want to talk to you about the necessity of letting go of the past, because past results, get this right here, past results do not guarantee future success. It ain't always going to work for you like that. Past result. And some of you right now, you're always referring to the past successes, the things we used to do back in the day, back in the old school, the way we did it. And you assume that what you're doing now what you're doing then is going to work now. But past success will not guarantee you future success. You can't rest on your laurels. You can't sit back and talk about what you did yesterday. I hear Janet Jackson singing in my ear, what have you done for me lately? Don't act like y'all been saved all your life. You come to God talking about, I served you in Sunday school. I served you in kindergarten. I served you in high school. And Jesus is saying, what you done for me lately? That was 10 years ago. That was 5 years ago. You was a great supporter. You was a faithful tither. You was somebody I could count on, but that was 5 years ago. What have you done for me lately? But let me also encourage somebody with this. Even though past results don't guarantee future success, neither does past failure prevent future victories. You don't hear me up in here. Meaning that even though you messed up in the past, and you made some mistakes, and you made some wrong turns, and you made some bad decisions, and you made some bad judgment, that those failures of the past will not prevent you from having future victory. Do you hear the words coming out of my mouth? Because the devil's trying to sell somebody, you messed up too bad. You made too many mistakes. You'll never come out of it. You'll never get over it. You might as well find you a seat somewhere. It's over for you. But God said to tell somebody, I'm a God of second chances and third chances and fourth chances. And even though they're talking about you right now and somebody's always bringing it up, I am the God who will make you have future success. Though your beginning was bad, your end will be good. Give God a praise if you receive that right now. I didn't start out right, but I'm going to end up right. I didn't start out on top, but I'm going to end up on top. I didn't start out with everything I needed, but I'm going to end with everything I needed. Somebody jump on your feet and say, I will win this. Number 3, let me talk to you about the cost of miscalculation. This is an important one. We'll talk to you about the cost of miscalculation. There's an old saying that guys use when they're in contract. They say you always measure twice and you cut once. In other words, they say to you that preparation is not wasted time. That before you take out a saw and commit to cutting anything, always measure it and measure it and measure it again. Check the accuracy of what you're about to cut. And sometimes, look at this, when you don't take the time to think about, ponder over, work through, process what it's going to take for you to be successful, whenever you don't take the time to calculate the cost, you end up paying twice as much. Do you hear what I said? When you don't take the time to calculate what it costs, you end up paying twice as much. I wish I had dated her longer. I wish I had dated him a little bit longer. If I'd have waited another 30 days, I would have found out he was crazy. I was in a rush. I had to change my season. Had to get out of this quick. My boat was going by. But if I'd have given it like 6 more months, it would have saved me 16 years of heartache. If I'd have taken a moment to examine her family tree and realize that when she said she was in church, she didn't say what kind of church she was in. She was in a witch church. She was into witchcraft. I didn't know that. When she said church, I didn't investigate it. When the brother said, I love Jesus, what Jesus you talking about? Huh? I serve God. What God you talking about? And if I'd have taken the time to measure twice before I cut once, now I'm paying twice. I'm paying double, Daphne. I'm 16 years in the game when I just could have cut it off at 6 weeks. See, this is how we do. This is the problem right here. Jesus wants to be Lord of your life. And what we do is we end up treating God as an accessory in your life. You know what an accessory is, you sisters. You got your earrings, you got your pearls on, you got your watch on. Those are the accessories. They're just there to enhance the outfit that you have on. And Jesus said, I don't want to be an accessory. I want to be Lord in your life. The Bible says, acknowledge him in all your ways, and he shall direct your paths. God said, I don't want to be an afterthought. Before you do it, I want you to consult me. Yeah, before you commit, before you say I do, don't just watch. What we do is we jump into stuff and then consult God later, praying God bless my mess. When in reality, if you had consulted God first, he would have told you not to sign that contract. You could have saved yourself a lot of heartache, brothers. You could have saved yourself a whole lot of money chasing all these women. Come on, dog. If you just prayed, God would have told you she's not the one. They getting tight. I don't even know why. You'll never lose women chasing money, but you'll always lose money chasing women. If you focus on your goal and focus on your purpose and wait for God to give you the green light, you will have saved yourself all this money and dinners and God help you, illegitimate children and child support. Oh my. Some of you spreading yourself so far that by the time somebody does find you, they ain't gonna get your whole check because you can pay it out to 3, 4, 5 people because you always jump in. You don't measure twice and cut once. Miscalculation will cost you. And God said, when I call you to be a disciple, I'm basically saying I want to be Lord of your life. I refuse to be an accessory. Don't pull me out when you need a new suit. You pull me out when you need a job. You pull me out when you need a breakthrough. And that's the only thing. And then when you get done, you put me back in the box till the next time. God said, no deal. I'm either Lord of all or I'm not Lord at all. I want everything or I don't want nothing. Don't come to me with your fake praise. Don't come to me with your fancy dance. Don't come to me with all that nonsense. If I can't be everything, I don't want to be nothing. I want to be Lord in your life. I want to be the one that tells you, now shoot. Now go there. Now do this. Instead of you insisting on doing what you want to do and then you want to drag me into it, I'm not going. You got that one. Because if you had stopped and listened to me, you wouldn't be paying the price that you pay. One last thing. Can you handle this? One last thing. I want to talk to you about the cost of non-committal. Some of you are the kings and queens of non-committal. You don't stick to anything or with anybody long enough to see a return on it. You don't stick with nobody long enough to see if it could be something. You don't stay in a marriage long enough to see if it's going to blossom. You don't stay on a job long enough to get benefits. You walk in the first day, I want benefits. No, dog, you got at least 89 more days. You don't stay in the church long enough to get no roots. You don't stay in the ministry long enough to be taken seriously. You was just drinking last week. Had to go get you off of Broadway. Come on, dog. Now you're preaching and he wants to take you seriously. You got to be here a while. I came to sing on the praise team. You came one day. We ain't seen you since. You want to show up 6 months later. I'm back. No, baby, you ain't back. Where you been? The whole thing's been moving. You got to have an update. Y'all can't handle it. I ate my Wheaties this morning, so y'all need to be ready for me. You don't commit to anything. Some people say, I don't want to make a decision because I don't want to make a mistake. I hear somebody right now saying, I would become a Christian, but I don't want to be a hypocrite. I would join your church, but I don't want to be a member and not be a real functioning member. Yeah. I don't want to make a commitment to get married because I'm not sure if I'm going to be a good husband or a good wife. So I continue to drag this out because I'm the king. I am the queen of non-committal. And what you don't understand is this: not making a decision is making a decision. Can I say that one more time? Can I handle it? I said not making a decision is making a decision. Remember when the election was going on and people were talking about you ought to vote, and there was always somebody stupid talking about I ain't voting because I don't like neither one of them. I'm just not going to vote. Well, you already voted by not voting. I don't like neither one of them, so I ain't going to vote for nobody. Guess what? Just by not voting, you voted for what they already had. You increased those numbers. They kissing you right now. They saying, thank you for not voting. Thank you for not showing up. Thank you for not being committed. Thank you for not being where you're supposed to be. For somebody, the devil's thanking you. Thank you for not coming to church. Well, I don't want to come to church till I get my life right. Thank you. Because you not making the decision is a decision. I would rather be in the church and be struggling than to be walking the streets. I'd rather be a struggling Christian than somebody on their way to hell. I'd rather be somebody who falls and bumps their knee and have to get back up and brush herself off. I'd rather be somebody who is at least trying to go in the right direction than being somebody who is quickly going in the wrong direction. Look at somebody and say, commit. Commit. God's calling some of y'all to the ministry, and you get into it talking about, I don't want to pay the price, and I'm just going to sit over here, and I'm just not going to do anything, and I just want, I don't want to say I'm going to do it if I'm not going to do it. Commit! Pick a team. Pick a side. Commit to something.